So let me give you a brief overview of my sort of entrepreneurial career. I've never been employed. I'm a college dropout. I started my first company when the wall came down in East Germany, and sort of my first notable company that became a success was Intershop. And Intershop basically invented e-commerce as we know it today. It was a packaged e-commerce software for large companies, and we had a good run. Company went public. We're the dual listed in the US and in Germany, but obviously there was a crisis of the confidence in technology companies at around 2000, and Intershop wasn't as big as it was before anymore. But after that, I thought that one of the challenges that our customers had, big retailers, was to run e-commerce software on-premise, and started a company called Demandware. And Demandware basically is a cloud-based e-commerce platform where e-commerce comes as a service from the internet, and the tooling is basically web-based. And that company went public as well. Eventually, in 2016, was eventually acquired by Salesforce for almost $3 billion in about 3 years ago. And during that time, when Demandware was very successful, and we were being suited by potential acquirers, I realized that mobile becomes a thing. In 2014, aggregated across all the Demandware customers, in the first quarter we had about I want to say 10% of mobile devices from which the websites were being accessed, and most of this was tablets. By the end of the same year, by the end of 2014, it was 60-something% of mobile devices, and 2/3 of it were smartphones. So I became convinced that smartphones are going to be the major or the main computing device of the next foreseeable future. And there were a couple other things we learned at Demandware, such as that e-commerce is important for brands and specialty retailers, but retail still represents a significant portion of their revenue, a much larger portion. And out of those trends, the NewStore was started. And the basic idea here is that not only is retail not dead, it's actually several segments of retail are growing tremendously. Retail is essentially changing. There are some older forms of retail, such as department store retailers. Obviously they have a problem with competition from the internet, but a significant portion, 80 to 90% of retail happens in stores still. Many online-only brands are now opening stores, at least in the US. Here's some statistics about almost 1,000 stores are set to open in the next 5 years that are run and opened by brands that didn't have any retail before. And so there's something going on in retail. And part of the reason is also that acquiring new customers, meanwhile, is more expensive on the internet than in retail. So, Facebook and Google have driven the prices for advertising up to a point where it's easier to have a clever retail strategy with strategically placed retail outlets in big cities that more or less act as extensions of the e-commerce website. That's 30% less expensive for customers' acquisition costs as compared to doing the same thing online only. So some interesting movements here. So basically, what is NewStore? NewStore provides a means for retailers to run their stores on iPhone apps, and it basically transfers store associates into a version of a POS, a website, a customer service representative. So in other words, if I'm going to a store and I meet a store associate, the store associate can immediately do everything for me what I want on his or her iPhone, including selling inventory that's not available in that store. So, a bit more technically, what does this mean? So essentially, required to make this work is a cloud-based order management system that combines online and offline. So online and offline no longer two different things. It integrates store fulfillment, so shipment can happen from a store or pickup in stores being organized. Very important here is real-time inventory. Imagine if you want to ship something from a store where quantity 1 is left, you better have precise inventory. There's something called endless aisle. That's the ability for store associates to sell items that are not available in the store, color size combinations, for example, that are not on hand, mobile point of sale, and of course clienteling, which is accessing the customer data record and making intelligent recommendations. So, this is not some app, even though the store associate really has an app. It's a real platform that has a real ecosystem around it, including other technology partners, agencies who are implementing it, and obviously it's integrated into the existing backend systems. I want to talk a little bit about sort of the vision of the connected store and some of the things that are, some of the principles that are important to us to make this all work. For one thing, we really believe that retail will be run on cloud-connected smartphone apps. There will be no cash registers, there will be no other hardware even, not even printers in 5 years from here. All that will no longer be necessary. And there are examples for that. If you think of Uber as the prime example for the taxi business, where you had to have specialty hardware before, local dispatchers. This is an app business now. Obviously, they're not the only player. There's also Lyft and at least 10 others. But essentially, this entire industry has been changed from something quite antiquated and fragmented into a business that's entirely app-driven. And we can do the same thing for retail. What's really important to make this work is something that's called total view of customer. So the store associate needs to have all the relevant data to help you as a customer. So they need sizes. They need to see what you have bought in the past, what have you returned, what are your color preferences, what is in your website's wish list, what's in your shopping basket on a website that you haven't checked out. So this information makes a store associate much more powerful and needs to be put together for all channels on the app. Likewise, extremely important is total view of inventory. So if you we all walk into a store once in a while, and let's say you want to buy an outfit, and the pants and the belt is available in your size, but the shirt isn't. But you want it in blue, and you want it size 15 and a half, and they only have a 16 in yellow. But they can sell it to you from the website in the same transaction, or from another store that has the last of that item left. And that is not costing you 20 minutes, or the store associate needs to make phone calls. This can be done in one transaction on a smartphone, and it takes just a couple seconds. This is really powerful. It increases revenue. It avoids markdown losses. And it can literally only be done with a combination of having all this integrated online and offline and a smartphone. Data integrity. Now, online in e-commerce, data integrity is sort of automatic, because if you want something shipped, you type in your address correctly, because otherwise your neighbor will get it or nobody. But in the context of retail, data integrity is difficult, because if as a consumer you're telling the store associate what your address is, there are plenty options for mistakes, and if they get the phone number or the email address wrong, then they can't even contact you. So data integrity is super important. It is something we invest a lot in. So we automatically cleanse data. We try to clean it at the source, address entry being one simple example here. So associate productivity. Store associates are one of the biggest investments, of course, for retailers. And in particular, when the store is full with people around the holiday period or around a gifting event, We want the store associates to be able to sell as fast as they can and make the customers happy. So their ability to get things done quickly, such as a transaction that involves inventory that is not available in the store, is key to making retail more competitive compared to online. So, what's happening to the flip, basically the store associates, obviously they love this because they're often on commission in addition to hourly wage. So if they can make customers happy with everything a customer asks them about, and they can do this quickly, they feel like they're superpowered associates. So we get a lot of kudos from the store associates at our customers. So the flip is basically the other side of the same coin is shopping convenience. If you're trying to do something complicated in a store, like let's say you return something that you bought on a website, but you want to exchange it for something that's more expensive, that's a complicated transaction. If this can be done like super fast, then it turns into shopping convenience. If an item you want is not available in a store and it can be shipped from another store to you within 30 minutes, you can't even get that at Amazon. That's shopping convenience. So we invest a lot in using modern technology, last mile delivery service and other means to create a level of shopping convenience that is otherwise out of reach for retail. Something where you would think that's a built-in unfair advantage that Amazon has, but we can deliver this to most specialty retailers with our platform. That turns into an exceptional customer experience. And actually, most successful retail formats today are no longer about stocking the items that the customers might want to take home. It's about creating a world where a brand can be experienced in the first place, and where service and the convenience are a significant factor to how a customer experiences a brand. Personal devices. So you could say mobile is a big term that includes all sorts of form factors, but essentially we really make our bet on smartphones, not on tablets. The tablets play a role in the context of a retail location, but essentially smartphones are small devices that both the store associates and the customer possess. We have developed payment methods where you can pay from smartphone to smartphone, not requiring a terminal. And so we are convinced that between the customer smartphone and the associate smartphone, everything can be done super quick, convenient, and secure. And the ability to message store associates and being able to reach each and every one of them allows for business models, for example, around shipping or ship from store, that wouldn't be possible if someone had to go to a computer to look something up. So always online. There are, believe it or not, still retailers who believe they, Wi-Fi in a store is not very important, or that they even call it offline business. Retail is sometimes called offline business. It is not. Actually, the stores of the future are going to be run more like websites and less like traditional stores. So, mastering online and using all the data that's available online in the store is becoming a super important skill. We have a bit of a secret formula just to give you a sense of how we tick. And this is something we use internally. This is not somewhere on the website. It's just as a, especially if you onboard new employees, to explain a little bit, what we expect. On the one hand, we are impressed by the convenience and the efficiency that Amazon as an online-only or almost online-only player delivers. So there's lots to learn about, especially when it comes to logistics and shipping. But we are very much tied to Apple as a partner, because not only does the apps for the store associates run on the iOS or on smartphones in particular, but we are also a big proponents of Apple Pay, and we did events together. So Apple is an important part of our DNA. And obviously, if you walk into an Apple store, you can see that what we offer is essentially that experience, but everybody can have it as a cloud subscription service. There's a lot to be learned from Uber about changing an industry from an analog industry with specialty hardware, dispatchers and all that into industry that's entirely run on apps, where all the innovation happens on apps. So, we try to learn from this. There's other things in it, like how to get to data integrity, how to work with imperfect information and still create a great customer experience. And then obviously it helped to have scaled a company before with Demandware. And it also helps that essentially we're targeting the same customer base just with a different application that is partnering with the e-commerce website and is not in competition to it. So that's essentially NewStore. We do have, who here knows where the BHAG is? The big, hairy, audacious goal. We always had one. We even had one at Demandware, and at Demandware it was one day 1 billion in transactions will flow through the system. When the company was sold, I think it was more like 30. So these things may or may not happen, but they need to be directionally correct, and everybody knows it. All my employees know it. So ours is, hopefully, one day, even Apple will use NewStore. This may never happen, but it's a good aspirational goal for the things that we are doing, for the user interface and design choices we are making. Okay, so with that, I would like to just introduce a customer that you may know, Decathlon. Decathlon has been super successful in many markets in the world, but until recently not in the US. And Decathlon decided to restart their business there with essentially with a lab store on Market Street in San Francisco, where NewStore was implemented about 1.5 years ago. And just recently, a couple of weeks ago, they opened the first large format 50,000 square foot or 5,000 square meter store in the Bay Area in Emeryville. And if you walk into the store, it looks like it feels like you're shopping a website. It doesn't feel like you're shopping a store, because aside from being able to touch and try out all the sporting goods and articles that they have there, that's about as much of retail as you see, because everything else happens on smartphones and it's using RFID. There's another example that's more of a specialty retailer in fashion. Untitled is a fast-growing fashion brand in the US. They are selling shirts that look good when you wear them on top. It's a thing in the US. Don't ask me how it got there, but they're super successful. And they currently have about 70-something stores running with the NewStore platform. And they allowed us to shoot a video. We also have a video with Untitled, but that one's longer. So we have about a minute left. I think that's just enough for the Untitled video.
Everything in retail has changed. Today's consumer lives in a mobile-first world. There's no online versus offline or price versus convenience. The mobile shopper needs a new kind of retail experience, delivered by a new kind of store associate. One who can see everything from the palm of their hand, from shopper history to omni-channel inventory to sales goals. Your brand can bring joy back to retail at every touch. That's NewStore. We remove the friction from retail, from product search to point of sale. Take an in-store exchange of an item purchased online. The only certainty today is that both the retailer and customer will be frustrated. But a complex task is made simple with the NewStore omnichannel platform. Ownership of the entire order lifecycle means exchanges or returns in moments. Even more, with the customer's full shopping profile at hand, your associates can cross-sell, upsell, and enhance the shopper's experience in exciting and personal ways. We've tackled inventory visibility head-on and from the cloud. Our connected mobile app enables your associates to receive and manage product with complete accuracy. Leverage an RFID solution and you have a system of truth for the whole inventory picture. Sell inventory from anywhere. Offer seamless customer experiences everywhere. Don't relegate your store associates to just the store. With intuitive front-end apps, they can reach, engage, and transact with customers in only a few taps. Rich customer data at their fingertips means your relationship with shoppers can come to life in truly profitable ways. Offering a range of fulfillment options can put your store and customer at the center of the brand experience. Store associates can receive alerts when a shopper who bought online is in store for pickup. With a total view of the customer, your associates can deliver true personalization, making your shoppers' lives a little easier and your value a lot greater. Simply put, mobile-powered associates can do more. When a customer finds an item in-store that's not available in their size, they can activate Endless Aisle and sell from any store or enterprise location, resulting in a possible double-digit sales uplift. They can even transfer customer checkouts to other associates in an instant. It can all be done from an iPhone, without ever leaving a customer's side. This is also true of NewStore Checkout. Shoppers can use their camera app to scan a QR code and check out with Apple Pay. No other devices or credit cards needed. It's simple, the way shopping is meant to be. At the end of each day, you and your associates can see your business and customers in the same way they see you, as one. NewStore, the omni-channel platform that allows you to run your stores on iPhones.
Okay, so time's up. I think how question we handle later, right? In the Fireside Chat.
No, we'll do a couple Slido questions already.
Good.
By the way, if you liked it,
You can applaud. Just saying.
thank you. Jack Ma said that omni-channel is the future and not online shopping. Do you agree?
Of course, we make a bet on it.
That's a short answer. Great. How's the shopping experience in a local shop? How will the shopping experience in a local shop change in the next 5 years?
I think you got a glimpse in the last video on how this will work. I mean, we have very visionary customers in the US. And this obviously it will take a while until it reaches more mainstream brands and until it reaches other markets. But essentially, you're going to be able to shop a shop like you shop a website, and you pay with e-commerce payment methods. And there's no more distinction between inventory being local or being online or the channels. All that is going to be one, and you're going to be just as efficient, doing so. As you are online already, and that's much needed. Otherwise, these brands can't compete with Amazon.
Thank you. Maybe last question. Do you plan to use VR with your platforms?
No. I mean, I don't want to exclude it. I mean, the way to look at this is we have a technology partner program with APIs and the ability for specialty technologies to be integrated with NewStore. So if this becomes a thing, we're definitely open to it. But right now, we can't really see a mainstream application in retail.
Perfect. Thank you very much. We'll have you back in a couple minutes. Thank you very much, my friend. Thank you.